Yay, 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 yay. When all else fails, technology comes through. Hey, hey, Terry. Given that you were the only one that came 2 weeks ago, just totally kidding. Welcome, 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 everybody, to journeying through a world made new. I'm like, where's my book? Where's my book? Oh, it's right here. Welcome to Journeying Through a World Made New. Tonight we're going to be talking about day 2. I don't know if we're actually going to get all the way through. I keep getting the awareness that we're not going to go all the way through, that we're going to stop where the break is and continue the rest later. But we'll just see how it shows up. It is great to have you guys here. I came this close to having it all work out to be on Facebook as well. And then it didn't quite go, but I'm glad to have you all here. So let's go ahead and cast a circle of light, specifying that only Source, Creator, God, my healing team, and the support teams as needed be present for tonight's journeying through a world made new, the book discussion and the healing circle, where we're going to be talking about day 2, some amount of it, and it is so loaded with so much great information. I tell you, I get so excited about all of this. We'll be talking about transcending the idea of limitation that we have. We're going to be talking about us being divinity in form, that we're not separate, and we're going to be releasing more attachment to the old ideas. Yay for all of that. It's going to be a lot of fun, in addition to us just being together, hanging out, and chatting about what's going on, healing what shows up, and trusting how it all unfolds. So may it be with a blessing, blessing, blessing of Source, that we continue to know that we are doing it exactly as we are meant to, that we are going up, up, up the spiral staircase, whether we're aware of it or not, trust it or not, no matter how it looks, we are doing exactly that. We're going up, up, up in frequency and taking everybody else along with us. With that, let me say amen and aho. So, yay for day 2. If you're feeling really bold and you're willing to pop it into the chat and admit, tell me whether you have bought the book, started the book, looked at the book, thought about the book, whatever you have done, because there is certainly no judgment on my end about what you have done. I could tell you about how many times I started books, how many times I actually put them down and kept from throwing them across the room. It is perfect however it is, but just kind of get an idea. I absolutely love this book, and I think it's going to be an amazing opportunity. So yeah, y'all are like, yeah, I'm willing to admit it. I'm willing to admit it. Awesome. Yes, Terry, it is looking a little messy these days. Awesome. Terry, you bought, looked, started, and read day 2. Woohoo! BG. Awesome, BG. I love that you're just like, I'm willing to say, I don't know what book we're talking about. We're talking about Paul Selig's last book, most recent book, A World Made New. This one came out, I think, in September. But it is the third of the Manifestation trilogy. And I love that you brought that up, because it is a reminder that it is not a requirement to read the book to come to the book discussion, because there's so much for us to just kind of chat about as concepts. And sometimes you read the book and you're like, I don't know. I have no idea what all that was. And so no need. I actually did a little clip today about that very same thing. You don't need to, it's weird. I'm going to a book discussion and I don't need to read the book. But the things we're going to be talking about are things that we all have in common. Use the example of unworthiness. Anybody have any unworthiness show up this last 2 weeks? Any. I got both my hands up. I was having a whole thing with all of that. And that's good because we're going to work on that. Terry, bing, bing, bing. Yes, I'll take unworthiness for 200, please. Yeah, there's a lot. So you don't need to have read the book. I give you a healing on the idea that you might need to read the book or that there is something there. But Jill, I love that. Bought the book, flipped through the pages, bought the audio book, haven't done a thing. I totally get it. And yeah, it is perfect. And thank you, BG Chem, for me. It is, it's perfect. Perfect. Okay, so day 2, it starts off with a challenge. What stands before you today in a realized state is a new permission to transcend any idea of limitation that you have utilized to deny the divine. Any limitation that you have utilized to deny the divine. Now, I'm going to tell you flat out that I brought this question to Joan. Joan is my hero when it comes to these books. She just has done so much with them and is so good at consolidating some of it and really helps me to be like, oh yeah, that's right, I got that. So any limitation you have, any ideas you have about what God looks like, how God is supposed to respond to you and your situations. Let's see, any idea that God isn't there for you, any ideas about being separate, God doesn't have time for me, any of those. Anybody got any of them? I actually realized I love doing it this way. I realized this last week that I made a rule up for myself. I probably made it up many times before I was 6 or 7 years old, but I remember very clearly deciding that God did not have time for me and my little problems. And I am guessing that it could have had something to do with when my cat died, but it doesn't really matter because I probably did it 100, 1,000 times since then. Like, why would God listen to me? Who am I that God would listen to me? That's a great one for unworthiness. And so we're going to all get healings on that. Any of those, how it shows up that God, who am I that God would listen to me? Why is God worried? God's busy trying to handle all that other stuff. All of that, lots of healings. And so if you would like, if this is your jam, you can feel free to ask, yourself, where am I holding an idea that I'm not enough for God, that I failed God, that I'm a minor player and why would God care that I have an issue? Any of that. However it comes up for you, feel free to ask where that is. It's an opportunity for us to just kind of like, oh, wow, I can feel that. I am constantly talking about this space that's not my sternum, not my throat, but it's right in here. And so one day I'm going to come up with a great word for what this space is, but right there, that's where I'm holding it. Kate, yep, I'm going to say your heart, but your throat gets choked up. And you can absolutely get a healing on the throat as well as your sternum, right? Yeah, and Jill, I get that place where, in your sternum where you're like, God, I know that's not true. I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I thought that because it's so not true. But it's part of us living on this low frequency planet, right? It's a really low frequency planet, and we can struggle with the unworthiness, the pain, the fear, the anger. Sometimes it is just all around us, and so you just be a little sad, and then you get a little reminder of, yeah, I need to just keep lifting it up. I have to remind myself of that on a regular basis. Lift it up. My family, we were having dinner together last night, and every time the conversation turned to what was going on out there, and what about this? And did you hear about this? And this example, I was like, and we have to remind ourselves that we have to keep lifting it up. And they just all looked at me like I was crazy, and I just said, okay, that's what it is. We have to just keep reminding ourselves we're going to lift it up, bless it all. So, blessing your sternum as well as giving your sternum a healing, or anybody else's place. If you don't pop it into the chat, you can literally just think it in your head. This is the quantum field. The field is always paying attention, and we work with the energy in the field so we can transform that. Ooh, I like that one. So I want to encourage you all, if you need to, if you want to talk to me, you can certainly do that and post just to host some panelists. But if you want everybody to see what you wrote, just notice that you can post to everyone. I think I gave everybody access to that. So totally cool. But that idea of, I know there's something I'm supposed to be doing. I'm sure there's something I'm supposed to be doing here. I'm sure God is waiting for me. And, God's like, dum-da-dum, dum-da-dum. If only Bonnie would remember what it was, then we could get on with whatever is supposed to be done next. Yes, it is a great opportunity for healing those places where you're like, I just don't have the information. I don't have access to whatever I'm supposed to be doing next. I mean, I thought I was supposed to be going in this direction, but apparently that wasn't it. And then I thought I was going in this direction, but apparently that wasn't it either. And to be honest with you, I just don't know. And that is an opportunity for more healings, in the places where we figure we must not have the information yet. It's our fault. It's our fault. Not paying attention. Like those days, anybody ever have a dream that they missed the exam? Everybody else got the notice of when the exam was except you, and you missed the exam? That's a great healing. You didn't miss anything. You're not late to the party. You're not too young. You're not too old. You're not any of those things. Everybody is exactly where they need to be at the time that they need to be there. You just keep trusting that. And if you think there is a place where you're like, oh no, I am sure I'm getting it wrong, I'm happy to give you some help with that. Not true. Whew. See what an awesome healing opportunity this is? Any idea of limitation that you have utilized to deny the divine? Yeah, I'm not liking where I am either. And then I go, okay, so what am I going to do about that? I'm going to trust, trust, trust. And any place where I am not trusting that I'm exactly where I need to be, I'd like a healing on that. I'd like some help moving that fear, doubt, anger, unworthiness out, because it's keeping me from accessing my information. There's more. Any place where you may see that God is the one who sends the flood, the one who decides who's in and who's out. That's right there on page 12. The idea of God, as you have used it, is of a being who decides for you, sends the flood, gives the victor the wreath, decides who should be and who should not. We're moving more of those ideas that is who God is. The idea is that God loves John more than Jane. The idea that God loves somebody who is in the church more than someone who has never stepped inside of a church or religious institution. All of those ideas we have about a punishing God, a wrathful God, any of those other words. If there's one in particular that you would like to know about, go ahead and pop that into the chat. But all of those ideas we have that God is anything but a loving, supporting God of love. We're going to work on more of those. Now, if you believe God is wrathful, does that mean that there's something wrong with you? Nope, not at all. Not at all. You can see God however it works for you to see God, until you see God in a different way. To realize God, to truly know God, is to step into God and allow God to step into you concurrently, as you and with you. Here we are, me and God, walking side by side, as you and with you. When people say only God should judge, yeah, God doesn't judge either. And that's okay if you believe God is busy judging, because those are some pictures and frames that all of us have that is part of our experience here on planet Earth. We all have pictures, ideas, and frames. I've had loads and loads of them about what God looks like. And, as it is time, they start to move away. And I go, oh, well, why would God judge me? Why would God pass any judgment on anybody? Like, that just doesn't even make sense to me. But if you believe that, that's okay. And yeah, undoing Catholic school God, undoing the God of all different versions of God. They talk about that throughout the book in various ways, not in the section that we are looking at, but I'm sure it will pop up again. The idea of structure, the idea of God in a structure, may be useful for some of you. Let me climb the ladder to God. We have offered a mountain to God in a prior text, but this mountain was simply an escalation of tone or your vibrational field. As you lift beyond the old structures you have utilized to define yourself, structures like what God looks like, right? Your understanding of yourselves through these texts supports you in a realization, first and foremost, of what you are not, which is in fact separate, and indeed what you are, which is of the whole. A lot of us have been told, like, it's us and them, those people over there, and that's okay. that's what we were told. And now we're starting to bring more consciousness to all of that and go, oh, I don't think they're so different. Here's an idea I can remember having when I was young. I was actually telling my husband about this, and he was taking guesses as to who it was. So Thursday is my birthday. I turn 59. So we could be going back into the 80s when somebody killed somebody and a whole bunch of people were really angry about it. He suggested Timothy McVeigh, whenever that was. Could it be anybody like that? And I remember thinking that the person who did it, let's use Timothy McVeigh as an example, that he had parents and he had people who loved him and people who understood him. And even though he had done this horrific thing in the eyes of the world, God wasn't judging him. I remember having that idea, like God wasn't judging him. Maybe his parents weren't judging him. Maybe all this stuff was just stuff that we were saying because we were really pissed off at what he did. I don't know. But God is not judging us. It's just an experience we're having. Just an experience we are having. So, here's one of the examples that they use in day 2, talking about God. To realize God, which is to know God, is to know the wall as God. I'm down on the bottom of page 14 if you have the book. To realize God, which is to know God, is to know the wall as God. Excuse me. Now you could say, know the wall is God, know the flower is God, know your neighbor is God, know the villain is God, whatever you want to use. Use the mountain as God. God is everything. So it says to realize God, which is to know God, that's what realization means, is to know the wall as God. The walls around me are of God. And when the wall is known as God, it ceases to be wall, and it becomes the vibration that was named as wall prior to the thought of wall. Huh? Prior to the thought of wall, prior to somebody just thinking I'm going to build a house where I'm sitting, there was land. And God was there. And before the land, there was air. And God was there. God is everywhere. And they use that example for us to remember that God is everywhere. God is in everything. And in the middle of page 15, I love Paul. Paul is hilarious to me. What does that mean? He asks. Again, God sees God in all of its creations. God sees God in all of its creations. In the sinner and the saint, in the hate and in the anger, in the fear and in the pain, in the joy and in the love, in all of it, God is there. So, take a moment and consider something that's happened to you in the last week, something that happened to you over the weekend, where you really were doing a little bit of what the heck? Really? That happened? Now, it could be something that's out there, right? There's plenty of things happening out in the world that we can get triggered by. But it could be something in your own life, right? Something happened. Something broke. and you were just like, really? This is like the last straw. Consider something that has happened. If you want to share it, feel free. But something that happened that made you say, what the heck? What the heck? Well, I could say, what the heck about my light just turning out? What the heck? What the heck? So I had a lot of what the hecks happen 2 weeks ago. But this week I had a drip in my faucet. A drip in my faucet. So we decide we're going to go, call Moen, and they're going to send us the part, and they're actually sending it to us for free. We finally get it. David takes apart the hot water faucet, and we can't get the piece out. And after many, many moments, we discover that they actually didn't send us another piece that we needed. What the heck? Really? Why wouldn't you just, if you're going to send us one piece, send us both pieces so we don't have to keep going, to the hardware store and talking to somebody there? Oh, this too is God. This too, the broken faucet, that's God. The drip in the faucet, that's God. The refrigerator that breaks, that's God. The car accident, that's God. Because God is all of it. Every last bit of it. There is nothing that's separate. If the drip in the faucet is separate, think about the water droplet. If I make the water droplet that drips when I don't turn the water on wrong, I've just made all of the water wrong. And everything that the water touches wrong. And then everything else is wrong. That's one of the pieces that we have to keep reminding ourselves, that everything, every last little thing is of God. We're not separate. The ant and the elephant. All of God. Jill says she got a nail in her left tire 2 weeks ago. Nail in your right tire today. Same place. Oh, look at that. So I love this. So Jill gets a nail in her left tire 2 weeks ago, then gets a nail in her tire today. And Tire Kingdom did this tire for free. And they were closed, and they even opened up for her. How many things can you get out of that one experience? Well, obviously she had an opportunity to see how nice people can be. Oh my God, they opened up for you. They gave you the tire for free. How cool is that? And we haven't even come close to looking at the energy of it. How about the place where you get to clear karma and agreements with every person that you communicated with, interacted with about the tire? Yay for that. How about the idea that your tires were a lower frequency and needed to be replaced? How about the idea that you probably had an issue with the tire. You saw the tire had a nail in it, so you take it in and get it replaced before you have an accident. I'm actually somebody who has had 3 accidents around tires. Tires flipped me out. I actually had a blowout on 95. My car spun around and a truck hit me head on, and I walked out of the car unharmed. But tires are a thing for me. So how about that? How about that you got your tire fixed before you had a big problem? Oh, look at that. Jill, I love that even more. The guy who fixed your tire told you that he had just started walking again because he was shot 7 times. Absolutely, he needed a healing. You guys, every single one of you are walking around here being the light, being the ambassadors. We talked about that last time. We were talking about one of the very first things about you are the ambassadors. You are the ambassadors, page 6. You are the ambassadors. All of us are walking around being the light. At whatever stage you're walking around being the light, you're walking around being the light and being the light and being the light. It's awesome. You do not have to have taken a certain number of classes or done anything other than being here and knowing you are the light. So, yeah, it wasn't a maybe he needed a healing. He absolutely did. And you provided it for him. It's beautiful. So God sees God in all its creations. That's what we're busy doing. That's what we're busy doing. You meet the mountain in tone. Everything is in tone. Everything has a tone. Everything is in vibration. And what all of us are doing, all of us, the people out there who have never heard of me, who've never heard of healing, they are vibration and tone. They are going up in frequency as well. They may not be going up in the same way with the same experiences, but they are going up in frequency as well. As you are lifted to the higher, as the form you have taken is lifted and expressed in the higher, what aligns to you at this level is beyond your old form, beyond the old rubric or architecture that you have utilized to know what a world is. I'm at the top of page 16. We all have these ideas about the world, what the world looks like, right? I'm old enough to say I can remember when I first heard about the internet. And, you had to get on and the computer went as it was connecting. My kids laugh at me sometimes and they're like, wow, Mom. The world has changed dramatically since then. Back in whatever it was, 1989, I couldn't have even imagined all the things that I would be able to buy on the internet, let alone all the other things that we do, like have meetings. Can you even remember the first time you all were on Zoom? Like, did your mind get blown just a little bit? Just a little? Like, wow, look at this. I'm able to communicate with people all over the place. If you have a moment, put in where you are living, where you are connecting from, whatever the state you are connecting from. All over the place. Mind blown, right? So here we are moving the old ideas of how things get done, of what things look like. Look at that. Virginia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. I know there's some of you that are out west as well. So what we're doing, all of us on the planet, not just all of us here in this container, is we are all through a collective agreement going up in frequency, going up above the muck and the mud, so that we can see things from a higher perspective. We can see things from a higher perspective, meaning like with some more love, with some more clarity, with some more understanding, with like, oh, okay, maybe it's possible that this isn't what I thought it was, what I was looking at. When you understand that you are moving beyond the old, you are actually releasing the very investment that you have been entrained with in what things should be, how they should appear, or what they must be known as. That's the middle of page 16. When you understand that you're moving beyond the old, all of us are doing it. We're doing it whether we're reading this book, whether we're sitting in an energy class, regardless of what it looks like, we're all doing it, and we're releasing the ideas, the ways we've been trained, right? We talked about that just a little earlier, the way we think things should look. But that's not right. That's not fair. That's not how we do it. Anybody ever say that? I remember when my kids started this one school, and I said to whoever was in charge of some event or program, why do you all do it that way? And they said, well, that's how we've always done it. And I just thought in my head, like, okay, but do we have to do it that way? And so I said, and that's the way you all want to continue doing it? Well, of course. Okay. Right? That's what happens. But we're going up above that and starting to go, you know what? It doesn't have to be that way. Now, I have had some people say to me, but how does this stuff work in practical terms, in the real world? In the real world, how does anything you're talking about or anything they're talking about in this book have anything to do with my real world? Well, there have been a lot of times that I have looked at a problem that I just immediately said, I don't know how to solve this. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should do A, B, or C. And then I stop and I remind myself that I'm not stuck with A, B, or C, that there's a whole plethora of ideas out there. I just have to wait for the one that works for me to show up. Now, I know you all have examples of this, because it could be something like you are trying to reach a shelf that is way out of your reach, and there is not a stool or a bench or a ladder anywhere in sight. And so you have to figure out a way to get what you need from way up there without having those resources. And so you start looking around and you're like, oh, maybe that stump over there will work, or maybe I can grab on to this side here and kind of hoist myself up, right? I'm sure every one of you have done something like that, where you did not have the resources that you would have normally had available. You had to think outside the box, and you came up with a way that you were like, boom, this will work. Now, I happen to have had a dad who was a gem at this, but it usually came from the perspective of not wanting to spend money on something. So I had a hole in the muffler of my Dodge Omni 024. And my dad didn't want to go get a new muffler. He came from that generation where you sort of figured it out and jimmied it up and did what you needed to do. And so I lie not. My dad took a vegetable can and took the ends off both sides, slid it over top of the muffler, wired it up so it wouldn't go anywhere, and did that instead of going and buying a new muffler. I swear to God, really, he did. So there's those things that are like, how do we think out of the box? Now we think out of the box in practical ways. How to reach something that's way high and we don't have a stool. How to fix our muffler without spending money. But we also want to do that with how we look at what's happening around us, with an issue that we're having with a family member. How is it that I can support them with that crazy idea that they have? How is it I can love them and know that they're divinity in form? Oh, yeah. Okay, let me go back to my book and let me look up something. Oh, yeah. God sees God in all its creations. Oh, that includes you. Yes. Where do you have a block from seeing God in something? Seeing God in somebody else? I know there's some of you that can be really triggered by family members or ex-family members. Give you a healing on that. Mine shows up in my sternum. Where is it that you don't see somebody? You crack me up. Terry, throat, perfect place. Perfect place will help you with that. Gentlemen, you make me laugh so hard sometimes. You have an easier time seeing God in a serial killer than in the people that irk you. Perfect. Happy to give you a healing. Jill, your frontal lobe, awesome. Kate, between your shoulders, yeah. The back side of your sternum, Kate. It's a great, great healing. Gentlemen, I think we'll work on your throat. And you can have a healing everywhere too. Now down at the bottom of page 16, realization, as we often say, comes at a cost. I knew there was a catch. And your adherence to the old in almost all ways is what stops your progress, what stops you on the walk forward. What you decide must be more important than what is actually before you. The mandates of history, the ideology of old, the tenets of religion, the ideas of what can and cannot be, the very things that you have created that stand in your way of your reconciliation with your true nature. You got to give up your old ideas. That's that entire paragraph. You want to move on? You're going to give up some old ideas. Give up some of those ideas you have that you've always been this way. That's how it is. Well, my religion says, okay, you can have your religion. You can also choose not to necessarily follow that particular piece or not. Those are the things that are standing in the way of you and your reconciliation with your higher self, your true nature. Being able to manifest like that. You have to just be willing to give up some stuff. And just go, you know what? Maybe it's possible. Maybe I could do that. I'm over on page 17, down towards the bottom of the page. In order to access this tone, you must release the attachment to what things have been, how they should seem or even appear. Now, does that mean you can't have turkey on Thanksgiving? No. But it does mean that you're like, am I having turkey on Thanksgiving? Oh, yeah, okay. I'm having turkey on Thanksgiving. Am I having dinner with those people? Oh, no, I'm not. I'm not having dinner with them the way we have always done. We're going to do something different. We're going to go play mini golf. Whatever it is. But it's about like checking in and asking the questions. Am I doing it this way? Is this something I'm ready to let go of? For those of you who have attended enough healing circles, you know we talk about that steering wheel that we're busy holding on too tight. No, not this steering wheel. Oh no, this is the steering wheel I need to drive my car, my vehicle, my body. This is the one that I know what's best. We'll help you move some steering wheels if you would like. You can always just surrender them. I love this. The appearance of the mountain through human eyes is what the human eyes see, with the colors in the landscape that the human filters have utilized to discern what reality should be. We look at a mountain and we go, that's a mountain. I know that's a mountain because and we describe it. That's why it's a mountain. But in fact, a mountain is energy. And that energy is God, and to know God as the mountain is to actually see God. The mountain is made of energy. At one time, mountain was just an idea. Oh, what's a mountain? What does it look like? Oh, you climb it? Why would you climb it? Oh, it's really tall. Oh, okay, I understand. Those are thoughts, ideas, energy. Thoughts and ideas are energy. Energy is God. The very bottom paragraph, page 17. Now, when one sees God, one sees what has always been, and what can only be. Reality, as you've known it, is merely a shadow of what actually exists. Reality is just a little tiny piece of what actually exists. Like, you can see all the things behind me, all those knickknacks. Can you see the energy behind me? Can you see all the gifts that are around you? There's gifts coming in. But if I didn't tell you that, would you know they were there? Because reality is just a small sliver of what we actually see. So there are lots of boxes coming in. They look like little ring boxes and bracelet boxes and things like that. You may see them differently. That's totally cool. You take a look, put your hand out, let one of those boxes appear in your hand, and you could just, for the fun of it, what color is it? It's orange. What color is it? Blue. What color is it? Purplish green. Whatever color you get, trust how it shows up. And then feel free to put that gift wherever you would like. Putting it in my sternum. A reminder that reality is only a tiny sliver of what we know. Money was a brass type wasp and it went into my sternum. Any extra info? So the wasps are beings that we are reassigning. Higher self is showing you those. Wasp beings. And you have a gift that is, I love that. You have a gift that's like a little, a bee or a wasp that is going in. So you had the beings moved out and the gift going in. It's like a little reminder. Very cool. Wasps, snakes, spiders, ants, roaches, all of Source, all of God. God sees God in all its creations. Down on the bottom of page 18, you must understand first and foremost that you are not separating yourself from an old world. You are reclaiming what was held in shadow in the high light, the high tone. That is the octave of the upper room where indeed all things are made new. So while we're releasing our ideas, the old ideas, we're not moving out of the old world. We're still right here. We're still having an experience here on planet Earth, like it or not. But what we're doing is we're reclaiming, we're re-seeing, we are re-knowing those things that have been seen in shadow. The shame, the fear, the anger, the pain, the unworthiness, the unconsciousness. We are looking at those things and going, crap, those are of God as well. My unconsciousness, I'll claim it for a moment, is of God. Unconsciousness is of God. Anger is of God. God loves God in all its creations. Oh my God, you pissed me off. God loves God in all of its creations. We're just re-seeing it. Oh, gosh, I was so angry. I was so scared. Oh my goodness. I am happy to give you a healing, Zoya, as you show up in the like, oh my gosh, I have so much fear. It's all of God. And it's simply an experience we're having. Happy to support you in that. And if anybody else has fear showing up, that pulse racing, oh my God, I have to remind myself when my heart starts, I have to go, oh yeah, this is of God too. Let me just focus for a minute and love, 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 love. And when I think I'm not doing it enough, go, yeah, that's of God too. Love that too. Love what's in the shadows, the scary stuff. I have to remind myself of this when I watch some of those scary movies. Oh yeah, that's of God too. There's a healing available for all of us on the idea of separation that is created by the death of a loved one. Giving everybody healings on the idea of separation on the death of a loved one. Now, that might be that you're like, oh, my mom passed away last March. And I'm like, oh, she's gone. I can't connect with her anymore. It might be that. But it also might be the bigger picture of loved ones. I have a really hard time with when I see dead animals on the side of the road, when I see things on TV. I have a really hard time with that. So it's a healing available for where we feel like we're separate, there's some blame, there's some anger, there's some whatever on the death of a loved one. And because we can. If you believe that you are not going up in frequency because you did something, I talked back to my mother. I told lies. I cheated on an exam. I lost my temper and something really bad happened. We're going to give you a healing on that as well. I'm not going up in frequency because God doesn't love me. I'm not going up in frequency because I didn't post yesterday. Down at the bottom of page 19, they said, the morality you utilize to decide what God feels, oh, God must be angry. Look at what they did today. Is purely named after the structures of personality that you have utilized thus far to express as. Our personalities like to say that. Well, the flood happened because God was really angry. Those people, they were just bad people. You know what they were doing? They were, oh my gosh, so bad, so bad. Healings on that. The top of page 20. We stand before you today with very good news. You have come, you have come, you have come. You have come to be reknown and to be reseen. My cat was about to walk in front of me. That's why I kind of chuckled. You have come, you have come, you have come. You have come to be reknown and to be reseen. You are reknown, you are reseen. Lots and lots and lots of gifts. So there's a beautiful crystalline orb for everybody. You get to choose where it goes. I see them in all different colors, but they're orbs. Just think of a little crystalline ball of sorts. And there's all sorts of frequencies inside them. You can have wonder, inspiration, illumination, restoration, resurrection. Reconciliation, recreation. Majesty. It's all available. Passion. Bliss. Creativity. Joy. Zenith. Mine is going to go in my third eye. So, before I end this, I really want to take a moment to help you know that you are so much more than you can imagine. There's so much more to each of you. Like, we've spent however long we've been alive living in this low frequency place, this place of fear and pain and anger and unworthiness, to no fault of anybody's. Truly, it's just an experience that our higher self wanted to have. It's not like, we can blame the presidents since before we were born. It's not like we can blame anyone out there, on social media or in the, marketing world, the business world. It's not like we can blame those things. It's just how things are. You are so welcome, Keely. So welcome. It is just the world we live in. It's the experience we're here to have. And in the process of having that experience, we get to remind ourselves regularly that we're so much more than the low frequencies that we're experiencing. We're so much more than the judgment that we have, or the fear that we're experiencing, or the anger that we sometimes experience. We're so much more. Because each and every one of us was created from rose pink quartz. We were created from love. And I don't mean the experience that you had that got you here on this planet. I'm talking about your higher self, your monad, that they talk about here in Paul's books. The monad. The monad is the collection of all the parts of your soul together. It's created with rose pink quartz. Love. Pure love. Each and every soul was created like that. And yeah, it's gotten a little tarnished, a little covered in muck and mud because of the incarnations that we've had, but that doesn't negate that it's there. And you are so much more than you remember. And so I just want to encourage you all, when you need something to lift you up, when you're, feeling like, oh my God, I'm just not going to make it, send me a text, send me a message on Facebook, say I need some help. I'm here to remind you. The top of page 21 is a beautiful claim of truth. The realization that you are more than you think must come to you now as realization. Realization is a frequency, not as a new idea that you can play with, but a simple knowing. I am more than I thought. I am more than I believed. I am more than I was taught. I am more than I believed could be, beyond any idea was that I ever believed about who anyone could be. So much more. Okay, finishing up. Blessing it all. We will be back here in 2 weeks. We'll be on Zoom. We're also going to be on Facebook as well. I will be posting this on Facebook, posting it on YouTube. Please, please, please feel free to share it with others. It is not a requirement to have read the book. As you can see, we just have lots of conversations about the concepts that are in the book, and it's absolutely perfect. So invite everybody. We'll be talking a little bit about day 2 in 2 weeks. Was that? Today's the 3rd, so it is the 17th. We'll be talking about it on the 17th, and then we'll be starting to talk about day 3 as well. So send lots of love and blessings to all of you as I seal the field unto the light, that one true source creator God, the one who is all the magic, all the joy, all the inspiration, all the knowingness of just how magical we all are. I thank my healing team. I thank the support teams, but I most definitely thank each and every one of you who are out there being the light, being the joy, being the inspiration for so many more than you can possibly imagine. You are absolutely, truly loved, blessed, and I'm so excited to be a part of your life. I love and bless each and every one of you. With that, we say amen and aho. Have a fabulous week, and let me know if there's anything I can do. Lots of love to you guys.